Well, what can I say about Nick Mullins? 49er fans have watched him turn into a reliable and stable backup quarterback over the last few years. Of course, his big coming out party was when he beat the Seahawks in 2018, something that hadn't been done for a while in the Bay Area. And Niner fans are always going to love him because of that. And he's just such a humble guy that you can't help but root for him to succeed. And it just seemed like the trajectory was going up and up and up for him. And he had a really good game last week against the Giants. And Sunday night could have been a big coming out party for him, on national television. And despite what some people think, I don't think there was really a quarterback controversy in San Francisco. But you never know. If he comes out and throws 4 touchdowns against the Eagles, maybe there is a conversation. At the very least, he was playing for trade value and his own personal contract value, at the end of the season. Now all that's up in the air because he did not have a good game against Philadelphia. And we're going to talk about why. We're going to look at a lot of different things today, not only just offensive play of the quarterback, but defense as well. So let's get right into it. Right off the bat, we see Kendrick Bourne is running a slant, and there's a linebacker right in his way. But as McKinnon runs a route to the sideline, the linebacker will have to move over to cover him, and Bourne will simply take the space that the defense left behind. This should be a nice, easy throw for Nick Mullins. When he puts too much on it, the ball is out of Bourne's reach. He's lucky to get a hand on it. Otherwise, that pass could have been intercepted. And I think everybody had pretty much the same reaction simultaneously, which is that Nick just seemed a little bit too pumped up right off the bat. Very understandable. Big game, not only for him personally, but for the 49ers too. So let's move on to the next play because, unfortunately, this wasn't limited to just one play. Here we see Kyle Juszczyk has a wide open touchdown. Let's see, they're on the 12. This should be an 88-yard touchdown pass here. And again, Mullins puts too much on the ball. He just seems too excited, a little too pumped up, and Juszczyk can't believe it. He just can't believe it. He's got plenty of time and just missed the throw. Okay, Niners punt, and now Philadelphia has the ball. Now, we're going to start off with this next play, taking a look at K'Wan Williams, the excellent slot corner for the 49ers. And here Philadelphia is using a play that the 49ers run quite frequently. They get everybody on the offensive line moving to their right. And they're trying to fool San Francisco by faking to the running back to get everybody to go to that side of the field while the tight end sneaks out on the other side. But K'Wan Williams isn't fooled. He bumps the tight end at the line, which is legal because they're within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage, and then he stays with him. In fact, he's able to make an excellent open field tackle. And by the way, that's not just any tight end. That's Zach Ertz. I showed you this play just to illustrate how important K'Wan Williams is to the 49ers defense. Look at that open field tackle. That's outstanding. All right, this is a few plays later. And here Wentz throws an interception to Azeez Al-Shaair, the same guy who made the big 4th down stop on Daniel Jones last week. Let's see if we can find out what happened here. All right, we're going to start off looking at the pass rush of Eric Armstead. Now, Armstead doesn't get home, but he gets close enough to Wentz that he sort of scares him a little bit. And Wentz gets happy feet and turns the other direction. But, don't do that. There's another one of those big, scary defensive linemen there. So Wentz turns around again, and now he's surrounded. And he tries to just get rid of the football, and his arm gets hit. And Azeez Al-Shaair makes a diving interception. What a great play for the 49er defense, who played pretty good in this game. All right, this could be a big opportunity for the Niners. Let's see what happens. Now, initially, all the receivers are covered, but it looks like Deebo Samuel is coming open late. But Nick Mullins is crushed by the pass rush. Why? Let's go back to the snap. Well, the new left tackle for the 49ers, Trent Williams, gets beat pretty badly here on the bull rush by Barnett, and Mullins goes down. Niners punt. Eagles get the ball again. We're still tied at 0-0. Now, I mentioned before that the defense for the Niners played pretty good, and I definitely think they did. But here Azeez Al-Shiar, who we just praised a moment ago, makes a real big mistake. See, he rushes the quarterback here, but you can't rush the quarterback unless the running back stays in to protect. Here the running back goes out for a pass, and there's no one to defend him. And he is off to the races. Huge gain for the Eagles. Now here you can see he sort of realizes his mistake and does this weird kind of jump thing, totally ineffective. And he just missed that play. So now the Eagles are threatening, and here they run a play that 49er fans were very familiar with during the Kaepernick years, which is the read option. Very simple. Wentz fakes to the running back, and when Deion Jordan bites on the fake, Wentz just takes off running with the football. It was a lot of fun when we were the ones doing it. Not so much fun when it's being done to us. Now, this defensive unit for the 49ers is still pretty good, even without Nick Bosa. In spite of what we just saw, they are well coached. They do have talented athletes. And last week, they only allowed 9 points. The previous week, they only allowed 13 points. So Doug Peterson knows that opportunities are going to be pretty rare in this game for the Eagles. So he's going to get as many points as he can when he has the opportunity to do so. So here the Eagles decide to go for 2. So we're going to look at the receiver up top. I believe that's Greg Ward. And watch as he just picks off this defender. Zach Ertz is wide open. And you always wonder when a guy is wide open like that, how that happened. Maybe they could have called offensive pass interference here. It's pretty close to the line of scrimmage. The referees do allow a little bit of leeway. But cost the Niners. They're down 8-0. But San Francisco would respond. Again, very simple play. They fake the handoff to the running back, and the Eagles defense responds really aggressively to this run fake. And this allows George Kittle to just sneak on by the other side and come wide open. In fact, the reaction from Philadelphia was so aggressive, Kendrick Bourne would have been wide open on this play too. Makes a man miss, gets the first down. George Kittle had an outstanding game. He had 15 targets and 15 receptions. He had 191 total yards and a touchdown. Look at that. He is the man, the best tight end in the league. Okay, so what do? You're down 8 points. Your quarterback had the jitters early. You go to your bread and butter. You call some simple plays, but you make sure your stars are involved too. And Shanahan does more of that here. Again, they fake the handoff. But this time the linebackers hang back. But that old wily Shanahan is a step ahead of him. And George Kittle runs on the other side of the line and comes wide open again. Very crafty. It's a tight end screen, and he gains more yardage. Now, Trent Williams did not exactly have a great game, but here he makes a really nice play. Watch as he blocks 2 defenders on this. Remember, Williams didn't play at all last year, so he's probably still a little bit rusty. I expect him to work that out as the season goes on. All right, the best tight end in the league has just had 2 really nice plays. Let's keep it rolling. How do you do that? Well, he's so versatile, the Niners simply hand the ball to him here. And he takes it for a gain of 8 yards. This guy can do everything. Here we see another hallmark of the Niners offense, which is the linebackers freeze for a minute there because they don't know what's coming. And when you freeze, you become a spectator. So far, this has been a really nice drive. And here's how they cap it off. They get the ball to Brandon Aiyuk on a screen. So far, it's a very nice gain, but looks like the safety Marcus Epps has the angle on him. But here Aiyuk makes one of the most spectacular plays I've ever seen. Oh my goodness, are you kidding me? Brandon Aiyuk, welcome to the NFL. Now, this was really impressive. And we're going to talk about why. Normally, when you hurdle a player, it's because that player went really low to the ground to make that tackle. Usually the low man wins in the NFL. So you don't necessarily even have to jump very high to get over him. But here, notice Epps is standing almost completely straight up, and Aiyuk hurdles him and looks like Air Jordan when he's doing it. That's incredible. Brandon Aiyuk, spectacular addition to the 2020 49ers. Now, the 49ers did not go for two, so the score is 8-7. And we can talk about why. My instinct was, go for two, to show them that, we're not going to back down, right? But then you're allowing your opponent to get you out of what you normally do. And that usually doesn't work very well in the NFL. So the Niners stick with their plan. They don't panic. They know they're going to score a ton of points in this game. There's no reason to go for two this early. And they get the ball back, but here Nick Mullins is just completely snowed under again. And this would become a disturbing trend in this game. 15 quarterback hits in this game. The second most ever in Shanahan's tenure as head coach. Let's see if we can figure out what happened. It's supposed to be a screen pass. Watch these two offensive linemen. Now, what you want to do on a screen is allow the defense to penetrate on purpose so that you can act as a lead blocker on the play. But you don't want to let them penetrate too quickly because then it disrupts the timing of the play and your quarterback gets crushed. There's sort of an art to it. You've got to kind of hit and release. And here, Ben Garland, the center, and Laken Tomlinson, number 75, don't do a good job of that. In fact, you see Tomlinson turn around because he realized he didn't play that right, and Nick Mullins paid the price. Now the Eagles get the ball back, and, it's Carson Wentz's turn to run for his life. He just barely gets the ball off and avoids the sack. And we can see that defenses are kind of dominating this game while the offenses struggle. Now this is just outstanding play by Arik Armstead. Here, he knows that Wentz is going to escape to his left, so Armstead cuts off his route of escape. Wentz has to turn around the other way, but he runs directly into the pursuit of Fred Warner, and he's forced to throw the ball away. Excellent defense by Arik Armstead and Fred Warner. All right, Niners get the ball back. They still trail 7-8. And here we see a great example of why Shanahan is so good as a play caller and play designer, because each play builds off of the previous play. Here we see the fake handoff to McKinnon and the offensive line moving to the right, and normally the quarterback would roll out to his left here. But what are these offensive linemen doing here? You can see they're allowing the Eagles to penetrate again. This is going to be another screen, but this time Laken Tomlinson plays it much better. Check him out. He hits, and then he fires off to the secondary. And we see that it's not a screen to the running back, but to Deebo Samuel, who was offensive lineman and nothing but green grass in front of him. And this play goes for 20 yards. Now from this angle, we see what a really nice throw this was by Nick Mullins. First of all, we talked about the fact that the line will allow the pursuit on purpose to take those defenders out of the play and allow the offensive linemen to act as blockers. But make no mistake about it, that's real pursuit that's coming after Nick Mullins, so he's under pressure here. But even so, he doesn't throw the ball to where Deebo Samuel is. He throws it where he's going to be, and this allows Deebo to catch it in stride and go for a big gain. Really nice play and well executed. So if you're Shanahan, now you might feel a little more comfortable having Mullins make a more aggressive throw. And at the start of this next play, we see these two defenders communicating with each other because that's George Kittle split out wide there. Now, they put a corner on him. He won't be able to be as physical as a linebacker, but at least you know that Kittle won't outrun him. Oh, but they forgot. This isn't just a normal tight end. It's George Kittle. He does outrun him. Look at the separation he has. Now, the safety up top sees this as well, and he's going to try to run over and make the play. So Nick Mullins just drops a dime right in the bucket here. Tremendous throw. Gain of 38 yards on the play. That is beautiful. The Niners are finally in a rhythm, and Nick Mullins is feeling it right now. Now let's talk about a play he made last week against the New York Giants. If you remember from our breakdown last week, we talked about the fact that the pass protection broke down here because Logan Ryan realized he could blitz the quarterback. But even with him right in his face, Mullins takes a hit and delivers a tremendous ball to Kendrick Bourne. And you sort of wonder, with that play and with the way this drive is going, maybe he's feeling like Superman here. Because here he tries to do the same thing with disastrous consequences. Now, right off the bat, we see that Mike McGlinchey has been beaten badly in pass protection. To make matters worse, all the receivers for the 49ers are covered. This play is completely busted, and Nick Mullins needs to just throw this ball away. But that's not where this ball is heading, and you can already see Rodney McLeod licking his chops. Now, Mullins is trying to get the ball to Trent Taylor, but there's just no room. He's completely bracketed on the play. Mullins should not have attempted this pass. And it's intercepted. A disastrous outcome right before the half. That one stings. Now, he's a backup quarterback, doesn't have a lot of playing experience. Sometimes you can live with a mistake like this, but this would not be the last mistake Nick Mullins would make in this game. He was doing well, but he's just a little bit too inconsistent in this game. So we're going to jump ahead to the third quarter here, and Shanahan made a really nice adjustment, I think, by recognizing that. And they come out, they get the ball back to start the second half. So that part was a fortunate break. And they have a really nice long drive with a lot of short passes to the backs and tight ends. Great way to sort of get the quarterback back in a rhythm, calm him down a little bit, and not be too aggressive. And now they're threatening at the goal line. And fortunately for the Niners, the Eagles are in a zone here, and they just let Kittle run right through it. It's an easy pass for Mullins, touchdown San Francisco, and they take the lead. They go up 14-8. Now the Eagles get the ball, and we talked about the fact that they knew they were going to have to be really aggressive against this Niners defense to be able to score enough points to win this game. And here, they go for it on 4th and 1. And it's a success. Now, you saw a lot of pre-snap motion here, so let's go back to the snap and talk about what happened. First and foremost, they call a timeout before this play. It's 4th and 1. They know they're going to go for it, but they're not exactly sure what they're going to do. And on the sideline, you could see Doug Peterson flipping over his play sheet over and over and over again. And whenever you see a coach do that, they usually realize in the moment that they're kind of uncertain and they like to go to their bread and butter. What's their safest play? What's the play that they've executed successfully 100 times before? And for Carson Wentz, that is definitely the quarterback sneak. But the 49ers know that too. So Wentz uses some brilliant gamesmanship here to disrupt that advantage. He backs out, and notice Deion Jordan and Fred Warner back out as well. Now Wentz goes right back over center, and he's just going right over the middle, but the Niners' defensive line was disrupted just a little bit, and he easily gets the first down. Some veteran savvy, maybe some sideline planning, and just good execution on the quarterback sneak. And now the Eagles are really going to go for it. They're going to try a nice fake here to the running back. In fact, they're going to try to use the same play that the 49ers used on them earlier in the game. They're going to get everybody on their offensive line going left in order to fool the linebackers, to get them to go to their right. And then the tight end will sneak out the other side. And to really sell this fake, the Eagles don't even bother to block Aiyuk Armstead. There's just one problem. The play doesn't fool the 49er linebackers. Instead of going to their right, they go to their left. Now the Eagles have a big problem because Aiyuk Armstead is steamrolling towards the quarterback. And this is a great play. He lays out full extension to get Wentz by the ankles, and Wentz just barely gets the ball off in time. This is just excellent defense by the 49ers. Look at that. Wraps him up perfectly. Perfectly executed. Okay, now it's third down. The Eagles really want this one, so here they call another pick play, and the purpose of this is to try to get Dante Johnson one-on-one with the wide receiver and maybe get that receiver a little bit of space. And the Eagles were successful in doing that. But watch the delayed blitz of Quan Alexander here. Now, two very important things happen now. The first is that the timing of the play is disrupted. Wentz is under duress, and he's forced to step up in the pocket, and he can't make quite as accurate as a throw as he would like to make. And the second, and perhaps more important thing, is that Dante Johnson does not give up on the play. He stays right with the receiver, and he makes an outstanding pass breakup and forces the Eagles to kick a field goal. Now, the Eagles' offense came into this game desperate and under fire, but they weren't the only ones being aggressive. In fact, Fred Warner almost gets there too. And look at that pass breakup by Dante. The Niners' defense was clearly up to the task, and Philadelphia was forced to settle for a field goal, making the score 14-11 with San Francisco in the lead, and they get the ball back. And they come out swinging. Right away, it's a big play to George Kittle. But was that a wise throw by Nick Mullins? Let's go back and take a look. Now, normally you never want to throw across your body to the other side of the field like this. But Mullins sees that the defender has his back turned, and he can't resist. Plus, it's a linebacker, not a corner that's covering George Kittle. He feels confident enough in Kittle that he risked the throw. Okay, that's the end of the third quarter, so the teams will switch sides, but the Niners' offense is moving. Here's a big chance for them to tack on more points to this lead, but unfortunately Mullins gets sacked for a big loss again. Wow, how does this keep happening? Let's take another look. Here, unfortunately, once again, we're going to see Trent Williams get completely burned on the pass rush. Mullins has no chance. He tries to throw the ball away, but the referee ruled that he was already in the grasp. All right, Niners have to punt. Now Philadelphia gets the ball. But San Francisco totally stuffs this running play for a big loss. Unfortunately, they suffer a big loss of their own here. Check out K'Wan Williams on the ground and in pain. And we already talked earlier about how important he is to this defense. Not good. All right, so now they've got to bring in his backup, Jamar Taylor. And there's no denying the 49ers defense is now a little bit more vulnerable without K'Wan Williams out there. But the 49ers know this. And here, Robert Saleh makes an outstanding call. He slides the other linebacker over and sends Jamar Taylor on a blitz. That way he doesn't have to worry about covering anybody. All he has to do is rush the quarterback. And Wentz seems completely fooled by this. And Jamar Taylor gets the sack, and you can see the smile on his face. This is an excellent use of personnel by the 49ers, and Robert Saleh just seems to improve year after year. Would the 49ers offense be able to take advantage? No. Unfortunately, we're going to be talking about offensive line breakdowns again. Watch Daniel Brunskill here. He gets beat, fumble, Eagles pick it up, and now they're in business on the 49ers side of the field with time winding down in the fourth quarter. Now, they are facing a 2nd down and 18 here, and this is kind of an interesting game situation to talk about. Sometimes when you have so far to go to get to the 1st down, you already know you're throwing deep anyway, so you might as well just go all the way, throw deep for the end zone. And this is successful for teams from time to time. And you can see the receiver has just a step on Dante Johnson, and it's enough for him to get into the end zone. Huge play late in the game for the Eagles. Now they lead it 18-14. And look at this pass protection that Carson Wentz has. Now there's still 5.5 minutes left in the game. Plenty of time for Nick Mullins and the 49er offense to go down, score a touchdown, and win the game. And Shanahan is getting tired of seeing his quarterback roughed up. So here he calls for a max protection. He leaves the tight ends and the running backs in the block, sending only 2 receivers out into the pattern. The problem is they're both covered. Nobody is open on this play. Spoiler alert, Nick Mullins throws an interception. Why? Well, Chris Collinsworth already told you on the telecast. Quarterbacks don't read the linebackers, something we talked about on this channel during our breakdown of the playoff game against the Minnesota Vikings last year. But that's not the only reason this is a bad decision. Look at the corner. He's squatting on this route. If the linebacker doesn't take it to the house, the corner probably does. In any event, this is an absolute disaster for the 49ers because now they're down 25-14. 9 points. That's 2 scores. And at this point, Kyle Shanahan has seen enough, and he decides to make a change at quarterback. And Nick Mullins' decision-making was definitely a factor in that. But I also believe that C.J. Beathard's stronger arm and mobility were a factor as well, because now we're in a situation where he'll need to throw down the field. And really, this works out quite well for C.J. If you remember back to the last time he played, one of his big weaknesses was his processing speed. When he has to stand there and make multiple reads, that's when it really becomes a problem for him. But here, he's going to just make 1 or 2 reads because the ball's got to come out quick. This is a 2-minute situation. You need 2 scores in 5 minutes. So it's go, 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 go. And it works out very well for CJ. And let's take a look at this first play. Notice the safety at the top of the screen. He doesn't know if Deebo Samuel is running a post route. He has to respect that. The one thing you don't want to do here if the Eagles is give up an easy touchdown. So Deebo Samuel is then able to find a hole in the zone. And CJ has enough time and pass protection to make this throw. All right, go, go, go. Time is ticking down. It's a big factor here. And in fact, I believe this play right here is the reason the 49ers did not end up winning the game or weren't in a position to win the game. Daniel Brunskill once again lets his man get by him in the pass rush. CJ takes a sack, and now the clock keeps running. That 2nd down and 20 isn't so important, but notice now the 49ers only have 2 timeouts left. They had to stop the clock there. That leaves them with only 2 timeouts and the 2-minute warning. This is hugely important because at some point, Philadelphia is going to get the ball back, and they're just going to run it 3 straight times. And if the 49ers cannot stop the clock 3 straight times, they'll be able to run out the clock or severely hinder the 49ers. So having to use a timeout there was a major blow to the 49ers' hopes of winning this game. But let's see how it plays out. Okay, same situation as before. The safety doesn't know if Brandon Aiyuk is running a post. He has to respect that, so Aiyuk is able to find a hole in the zone. He stops short of the goal line and inbounds, so the clock keeps going. Tick, tick, tick. Gotta go, gotta go. Now here Kendrick Bourne makes a great move to get open. Look at the separation he has. This should be a touchdown. Unfortunately, this is a bad throw by C.J. Beathard. The ball is low and Bourne has to reach for it, and the ball should be out in front of him so he can go into the end zone. But as a result, he is stopped short. Now it's ruled on the field as a touchdown, but this play would be reviewed and overturned, and they would spot the ball at the 1-yard line. The Niners punch it in, but they use valuable time in doing so, and now they're just 2 seconds away from that precious 2-minute warning. Now, we'll deal with the time factor, but first, we're going to go back in time a little bit. There he is, Mike Shanahan, Kyle Shanahan's dad. And this is Super Bowl 32. And here, John Elway, the current general manager for the Broncos, has a wide open Terrell Davis. Almost fooled you. That's Howard Griffith, the fullback. But he doesn't pass him the ball here. He decides to run it in instead. Why? Well, very simple. If he passes him the ball, he could drop it. Whereas if he runs it in, it's a guaranteed score. Now, why do I bring that up? Let's take a look at the 49ers' 2-point conversion attempt here. CJ has a wide open George Kittle, but it looks like he could run this ball in instead. In fact, George Kittle expected him to run it in. CJ threw him a pass, and the pass surprises Kittle, and he drops it. The 2-point conversion is unsuccessful, and that is significant because if they had made it, the 49ers could have tied the game with just a field goal. Now they'll need a touchdown to win it. Okay, 2 seconds left to the 2-minute warning. And we've seen the offense make some mistakes. We've seen the defense play pretty darn good, but they made a few mistakes as well. And here we're going to see a pretty big mistake by the head coach of the 49ers, Kyle Shanahan. With only 2 seconds left to the 2-minute warning, he's got to kick this ball out of the back of the end zone. You send Mitch Wishnowsky out there and you kick the ball out of the back. No time will run off the clock, and the Eagles will get the ball at the 25-yard line. If the Niners stop them 3 times, they'll get the ball back probably around their own 40. Very good field position with plenty of time on the clock. It's true they won't have any timeouts left and they need a touchdown, but what they do instead is far worse. They attempt an onside kick. Now, Shanahan after the game said he was worried that maybe Wishnowsky might not kick it all the way out of the back of the end zone. You know, you never know, right? But I think your odds of recovering an onside kick are far lower. With the new rule changes, teams are only recovering onside kicks less than 8% of the time. So now you're going to have the same situation where if you stop Philadelphia 3 times with no timeouts, you'll get the ball back, but now you're going to get the ball back on your own 10-yard line. That's terrible field position. Now you've got to go 90 yards with no timeouts, and you need a touchdown. This was a mistake by the head coach. Now the Niners do put together a nice drive, and they get in position to go for a Hail Mary with about 6 seconds left. But let's do a little thought experiment here. Now, we don't know for sure if they would have put together the same drive or anything like that, but let's just pretend that instead of being on the 35-yard line, the ball's on the 10-yard line. I think your odds of success go way up in that situation. Now, as far as Hail Mary attempts go, this one is pretty good. And it had a chance. It had a chance, but it falls incomplete, and the Eagles win the game. Very nice win for the Eagles, who move into first place in the NFC East. They really needed this one. And for the 49ers, they're just left walking away from this game a little bit bewildered, I think. So, where do the 49ers go from here? Well, Jimmy Garoppolo has returned to practice in a limited capacity, but I think he's going to play. It's pretty clear that Nick Mullins, while he has a lot of upside, he's not quite there yet. He's still relatively inexperienced. And Garoppolo really covers up for a lot of the deficiencies in the offensive line play. So they need him to play. Now, high ankle sprains are funny. It can take sometimes 4 or even 6 weeks for them to heal up. It's only been 3 for Garoppolo. And if you've ever had a high ankle sprain, you know how painful those injuries are. But I think he's got to play. He's got no choice. The 49ers can't afford to drop any more games, especially with the Seahawks so red hot in the NFC West. One other question remains unanswered after this game, which is there a backup quarterback controversy in San Francisco? I don't think so. CJ came in and he played really well for the situation. He executed the offense, which is more than you can say for Nick Mullins in this game. I'll give him that. But I still think Nick Mullins is the overall better quarterback, and Shanahan is just kind of deciding to kick the can down the road. Garoppolo's coming back. He doesn't need to make that decision right now anyway. And if the situation arises where he does have to make it, we'll see who he's most comfortable going with. They've been most comfortable going with Nick Mullins, and I think that's probably what they'll do. But there is another factor in play here. After last week's video, many of you pointed out correctly in the comments that Mullins is a restricted free agent. Now, at the time, I didn't give that much thought because the Niners would have to place a first-round tender on him and pay him about $5 million, which is too much money to pay your backup quarterback. But Nick Mullins' trade value after this game almost certainly went down. Teams that may have been considering him might look at this film and decide that he doesn't play well or make good decisions under pressure. I don't really know if that's a fair assessment because this isn't typical of him. Usually he performs at a much higher level. But nevertheless, it will give them negotiating leverage. So the 49ers might not be able to make a trade with Nick Mullins even if they wanted to. And since he's a restricted free agent and they would have to pay him the tender and pay him the money, they might be better off just cutting him at the end of the year and keeping CJ Beathard on, who they could sign for a much lower price. In that event, it might be worth their while to give CJ more playing time should the need arise. So there's a lot of moving parts there and a lot of uncertainty in the air. And only one person really knows what's going to happen for sure, and that's Kyle Shanahan, should the need arise. Let's hope it doesn't. Now, next week, the Niners have another quote-unquote easy opponent in the Miami Dolphins. And I think the key for that game will be to see which Ryan Fitzpatrick shows up. If Fitzmagic shows up, and occasionally he does, and he goes off for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns, like he's wont to do, then the Niners could be in for a tough day. Garoppolo could have to sling the ball a lot on that injured ankle with the beat-up offensive line. That could make the game a little uglier than the 49ers want, for sure. But if the other Ryan Fitzpatrick shows up, as he also often does, where he just for whatever reason can't seem to complete a pass, I think the Niners will win pretty comfortably. We're going to have to wait and see. It's going to be a fun game to watch, and I will see you guys after that game. As always, I want to thank all my new subscribers. I want to thank all my subscribers. You guys are terrific. Obviously, it takes a long time to make a video like this. This was a very thorough breakdown of a loss. But if you've been watching this long, surely you can hook me up by liking this video. Thanks again, everybody. I will see you next week.